so just bear with me. It's time we had some stability in Oakham Town Council. The next chairperson of this council should be someone who is well known in the town and who is respected by residents for their work in the community as a whole. The person selected for this post should have a good knowledge of local government and has shown they are competent at chairing a meeting. Chairman, thank you for letting me say that.
Are you making a nomination?
I didn't think you would. Therefore, I would like to nominate Councillor Adam Lowe as chairman, and I look for a seconder. Thank you.
I'll second it.
Second. Do I have any other nominations?
Can I nominate myself?
You can.
Somebody would say.
Councillor Brooks nominates himself. Do you have a seconder? He seconds it. Okay. Any further nominations?
Yeah, I would like to nominate Councillor Dave Romney as well, and then I would also like councillors to do a written vote.
Sign ballot.
Well, let's just one at a time. Would you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Okay. So we have a third nomination. Do I have a seconder for that nomination?
Wonderful.
Okay.
Put my name.
Now, Councillor Brooks, you also called for a signed.
Yeah, so that we know.
Do I have a seconder for that?
Chairman, can we have the courage of our convictions and have it open up?
No.
We had, in accordance with standing orders, Councillor Brooks has made a request for a signed ballot.
Anybody can
Now, Councillor Brooks, I don't get many more chances, but please don't interrupt. Do I have a seconder? I'm sorry, members of the public can't second it.
I'm seconding it.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were seconding
I'll second it.
it. And second, all those in favour?
What would you?
We are voting for a signed ballot.
It's because we all
Nine.
Those against? Abstentions? That's carried then. Have you got the paper? So just to remind you now, we have 3 nominations. The 2 nominations in the first round that get most votes will go forward. The nominee with the least number of votes will drop out at the end of the first round.
Just one vote.
There will then be a second round, and at that point then will be the majority decision will be up.
So, Chairman, so we don't get a problem before, can you explain to everybody like they have to put their name on the paper, sign it? Because that happened before. Where
Well, that's not secret ballot then.
It's not secret, and any member of the public can ask to see it. It's just so it's shown we follow the correct procedure.
It is, in accordance with standing orders, it is a signed ballot. You have to sign it.
It's not secret, it's just stopping all that fuss we get with voting and everyone gets confused, that's all. Well, we've seen it at the council that it does happen.
Do we have any trouble with Councillor Clinton?
Clark. Jackson.
Once you fill it in and sign it, can you pass it forward?
I can't come out.
No, Chairman.
Oh.
That
We've got all
Just
of them.
you just stand on your
and
own.
Michael will stand.
Why Michael?
Because I'm the chairman. So.
Excuse me, Chairman, why are you not wearing the chain if you're still...
We still want to kill Alison. Alison is still want to kill Daniel.
We got them all.
It's probably tax recall. Right, we're in adjournment now. That shouldn't really happen out there, it should actually happen here.
They're counting those pieces of paper.
Takes ages.
Don't know. But the papers after this meeting anyway do become into the public domain anyway, don't they?
Yes, it's
So they can be viewed later. Should people feel the need to view it.
Adam, why put your name on it?
Just
Well, we might as well not do it now. We might as well just put our hands up.
That's why we were.
Yeah, but I think it just
It
prevents.
wasn't said.
Yeah.
It wasn't said before.
That's confusion.
Yeah, but
It wasn't said tonight until the papers were given out.
I think it eliminates any ambiguity about raised hands and stuff. So it's not. It's just
Ridiculous.
it's council rules and regulations. It's not a local council regulation. It's a national thing it's in the big book.
We should have a secret voting booth. I saw both what they would.
By admitting that, you just admitted that voter fraud.
What did you do? Nobody can quibble and say it wasn't done properly.
I think the advantage is that we won't change the process after this.
Yeah. You have that as an option.
And then what happens is the person with the least votes is excluded, and they do it again with the two remaining. Because this is
It take 2 seconds
And I
to
don't
do
know what
that.
happens.
that's because what the council resolved to do a minute ago. So we have to go.
Why you voted to do that?
Right, on the first round,
I can't hear. Thank you.
the votes are 6 for Councillor Lowe, 2 for Councillor Brooks, 3 for Councillor Romney, and 1 void paper. The void paper is because one councillor voted for themselves. There was not one nominated.
Can you repeat that? Sorry, sir.
Yes, there was. We were voting for 3 nominees. 6 voted for Councillor Lowe, 2 for Councillor Brooks, 3 for Councillor Romney, and there was a void paper because one councillor voted for themselves and they were not nominated. Okay?
Sorry,
so that means
I thought
Councillor
you were allowed
Brooks.
to vote. I didn't do it, but you are allowed to vote for yourself.
We didn't have.
Oh, not
nomination.
nominated. Sorry, I didn't get that.
Okay.
Sorry,
That
Chair.
means Councillor Brooks drops out. So we now.
So if I voted for myself, we wouldn't have time.
Oh, thank you.
You can vote.
I don't know, no, because you wouldn't have voted. I would have been
Cannot
you.
vote for someone
No,
who
but
has
if
not
you
been
can vote for yourself, so this is what we misinterpreted at the beginning.
Yes, but the person who voted
That's
for
nothing.
themselves
It wasn't on.
was not nominated.
I hope it wasn't it. I don't know. I said, I hope it wasn't it. I'd be embarrassed if it was.
No, they're not ready. That is so much to write on.
Adam's writing his mum's.
Are you writing your?
I must have gone on the
Second round.
Oh, more.
Will they go up in another again?
Just builds the tension, doesn't
It does,
it?
Well, he's dead now, isn't he?
They're still coming.
Not the same thing, but yes.
I guess it gets us ready.
Oh, you have to turn it like that.
That was the void.
You're not mixed up the ones that you've already done, have you?
No, that was the void one.
Julia's like having a whole family.
You should do them there.
I know then.
Off they go.
But they've already done it that way first time. They'll all follow through, might they?
What about the deputy? So on for that. Oh yes, we've got deputy to go through it all again.
Well, it depends. I mean, it may not be as complicated, might it? Might not be anybody wants to do that.
Wants to do
Depending on who
what?
gets in the, depending on who gets in the chair.
Well done, G.
Well voluntold. Right, ready for you, Adam?
No, not necessarily. Could go to a 6-6 and it's casting vote.
Oh, I want to be with her.
So if it's an even split casting vote by the chairman. It's true, it is.
Oh, yeah, get his casting vote.
Yeah.
Have you been nice to him?
Funnily enough, no, I'm not. Actually.
Bet you regret that now.
Yeah.
Then he goes down to the biggest muffin basket.
Right, the vote then was 8 votes for Councillor Lowe, 4 for Councillor Romney. Therefore, a great pleasure in saying our new chairman.
Do a clap or?
Did you know?
It's the chain that has to go.
Oh, I've got a sign.
You do, like that. There you go. And then I'll need to sign.
Put your cross.
I changed mine now.
I've already done it twice tonight. Well, we'll just sign.
Congratulations.
Well, thanks.
There you go.
Yeah.
Are you moving now?
There you go.
I have to move, yeah. Sorry, well, thank you. Well, my first order of business is to
So
suspend the meeting and re-adjourn to the Whipper, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say a few words of something.
Chairman, why are you not having the chain first?
My water, my bottle over there.
I've got my water.
Have you got
Been
your
working
glass?
all year for that.
Are we not having a handshake? So I can-
Yeah, well, you want a photo with...
But they're supposed to be putting the chain on. That's a tradition.
Well, I've wear the chain enough times, so I'm not that
But
bothered.
it's just a tradition, isn't it?
No, it's usually the last mayor puts that on you,
Yeah, it's funny, but I think he's wrecked the chain.
No, it's just been repaired.
Is it? We'll throw it on and then we'll do a bit of a handshake and then if anybody does want a picture for posterity, then they can do
Well, I
one.
can see smiles.
Oh, let's get Mark.
Can you get round so I can see? Thank you, Jane.
Thank you very much, Michael. Thank you.
Right, and then this way.
I'm a little bit surprised. If you want. Right, well, thank you.
A point of order, have you presented him with his resolution?
No, we're going to do that next. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Before we do that, it's not uncommon for a chairman to make a few opening remarks. And I haven't, believe it or not, prepared anything because I am a little bit surprised, if I'm honest. It's the first time I've been surprised on this council for a number of years. Genuinely. Thank you very much for the 8. Thank you very much to the 12, because in actual fact, now that decision has been made, it is a council decision that the council has resolved to do it. But I will point out that the chairman of the council only chairs the meetings.
Yes.
The decisions are made by the whole council, and if any councillors want anything to bring to the council, as it has been in the past, you bring them to the clerk. I will have no control over that whatsoever. All I want to see is order in our meetings, professionalism in our meetings, and a little bit of decorum, okay? And that's the way I've set it. If my approach will be, as we move forward, if we have any disruption to any meetings, I'll just halt the meeting and wait for it to stop, okay? To allow things to cool down.
If you conduct the meetings like you did our planning committees, it will be very good.
And right, and what I'd also like to say is that so the last 12 months has been a very difficult year for the whole of the council. I think that Councillor Haley has conducted himself as well and as best as he can under what have sometimes been very difficult circumstances. And it isn't easy being chairman. I have been there before, and he fell off the table then. And it isn't easy. And I think Michael, and in actual fact his deputy here, sat next to me, Peter, have actually helped run and manage this council, keeping it on track with certain behind the scenes things. And of course that responsibility has been shared equally by the clerk of the council, Miss Greaves here on the right. So those 3 people I've mentioned who've done a sterling job, and Michael especially, for all that hard work, you get a blue box just here, and in here is your past mayor's badge. This must be the last one in the cupboard, isn't it?
No, but the box is recyclable.
Oh yeah. So what I'll do is officially hand that over to Michael to officially thank him, and you now know where I'm coming from. I'll give you the box, you can pin it on your lapel. So thank you very much. So we'll crack on with the order of business. I would remind any members of the council, please, that if you do want to say anything during the meeting, A, stick to what's on the agenda. B, please raise your hands or indicate to me that you want to say something, because then I can invite you to stand and address the council and the public who have come to see us in action, so to speak. Has anybody got any questions at that point? Have I missed anything that I should have covered? No? What's next?
Apologies, which no.
Alright, okay. And also, no apologies, everybody's here, so brilliant. Councillor, questions? Have there been any questions notified? I don't think so, so that's item 4. Declarations of interest. Members are asked to declare, if required, any disclosable pecuniary interests and any other interest they have in respect to items on the agenda. My members' interests are already registered to the fact that you all know that I'm on the county council and will have no bearing on any aspect of this meeting this evening, I do not believe. But that's recorded anyway. Are there any interests that people want to declare? No. Item 6 is the election of the Vice Chairman. It's going to be a tough act to follow again because Peter, I think, Peter has done a sterling job. So looking for nominations of a deputy. So Anne had your hand up first. Anne, who are you nominating?
I'd like to propose Councillor Bromley.
I'll second that.
So we've had Councillor Romney proposed by Anne, seconded by Joyce. David, are you happy to be nominated? Any other nominees? Martin?
I have to nominate myself to get seconded.
Councillor Brooks is seconder for Mark. Councillor Brooks, seconded by Nick. You happy to be nominating yourself?
Yeah.
Just checking. Does anybody else like to be considered to be the deputy chairman?
No, does Peter want to do it again? I've asked him.
It would appear not.
Oh, right.
It's gone through seconding plan over there or whatever. But from politics, that's what we want. We're not politicians here. This is a parish council. So if that's the case, if we do that in order of, in the fact that nobody's actually requested a signed ballot, is everybody happy now that I put these in order that they were nominated? So I'm going to ask for a show of hands for Councillor Romney. If you are voting for Councillor Romney, then you would put your hands up at that point. If you do not want to vote for Councillor Romney and you want to save your hand being raised for Councillor Brooks, then save your hand going up, okay? I don't want you to vote for both of them. It's a bit like the sign ballot. Vote for one or the other. So can I have a show of hands, please, for Councillor Romney? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's 10. Yeah. All those, anybody against? Abstentions? There should be 2 abstentions, shouldn't there? Yeah. Okay, so there'll be 2 abstentions. And I will go, I mean, it's obviously, it looks like a landslide in favour of Councillor Romney, but all those in favour of Councillor Brooks, it would have been presumably 2, and then there would have probably been 10 abstentions, I would have thought, yes? So it's carried then that declare that the election of the Vice Chairman for the following 12-month period is Councillor David Romney. So
Well done, David.
congratulations.
Yeah.
Is that the, have we got the,
Yes, I can handle it in.
Oh,
Yeah, that's it.
is it?
That's the one I was given.
I don't remember there being a nice green ribbon on it.
that's right.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, right.
Oh, hang on. No, I think that's the wrong one.
This is your past chairman badge when you were on the council about 30 years ago. So this is this is yours. So you still got the deputy chairman's badge, haven't you? So if you're happy to accept, if everybody's happy that I thought that was, there we go. You take that, sir.
And the box. And the box.
No, the box is the
sure?
the right box.
Oh dear.
Then that was wrong. No. Yeah, that one there is the consort change. That one goes with that box there. All right, okay. So anyway, congratulations, David, and I think it's a good fit. Yeah, I was just seeing your clock's correct. Is it 1919? Is that one?
Yeah.
Right, brilliant. Okay. So the item 7 is the minutes. This is to confirm the minutes of the meeting the Oakham Town Council held on Wednesday the 11th. I think there was only Councillor Lucas who wasn't present at that meeting, I believe. So has anybody got any comments or observations where they'd like to make any amendments or anything in regard to the minutes? Otherwise I'm looking for a proposer. Proposed by Nick, thank you. Seconded by Michael. All those in favour?
You can't vote, you left early. We left early. We left
Oh,
before
we
the
did,
end.
yeah.
So all those in favour that did stay for the full meeting? Oh, actually, not. Actually, I left early as well.
No, you didn't. No, not on this one, you didn't.
No?
Jean, Anne and Paul.
Had to leave early. So all those that didn't leave early in favour, so we've got, looks like we've got 6 in favour. Abstentions?
That's 7 people.
Oh, 7, beg your pardon, 7, Peter. Abstentions?
Should be
5.
5.
right then.
Yes, 12.
Right, okay.
There you go.
Brilliant. Thanks.
Put initially to pay.
Yeah, no, so I'm just checking something. Was
Oh,
Daniel wasn't at that one, wasn't it?
No, Daniel.
So that was
So,
yeah, so that fact would be 6 and 5.
6 and
Yeah,
5.
that's what I was looking at. So you would have been an abstention, Daniel.
Abstention. 6.
That's what I was just double checking. Okay. Thank you very much. Item 8 is members' reports. Receive any report. Are there any reports?
No. Oh, so
That would be
sorry.
number 11.
Yeah, Joyce.
So, yeah, so Councillor Lucas. Got
Can
Thank
we
you, Chairman. Report of Oakham and Bloom meeting held at the Whipper Inn on, you don't need to write it down, Alison, I've got it all in anything else. On Tuesday, May the 1st. There's been a massive positive reaction about the television programme from all corners of England, and dare I add to that, Wales. There have been many hits on Facebook page. The forward plan was discussed at length, and new proposals that Oakham and Bloom will adopt with doorstep challenge. The actual details are kept a secret until the residents have been informed. Joyce was allowed up to £250 to spend on display boards. Oakham and Bloom will take part in the Rutland Health Action Day on the 12th of May at Catmore Sports Centre. The colour scheme has been finalised, and the men in sheds will be involved in another project. The competition for the best secret garden and best front garden are to be reinstated and have already started collecting names. The website is now operational, but there are some minor details to be sorted. There will be a garage sale in aid of Oakham and Bloom on the 2nd of June. Donations please to me. Tickets for the social event, and we intend having social events, and it's not all hard work. But these are for the people, members of Oakham and Bloom. The tickets for the social event, Strawberry Tea, are going well, and Dr. Finesse has accepted the Oakham and Bloom invitation to attend. The removal of all winter plants, which is a massive job, will be on the 27th of May, 27th of May to 2018, and the big plant day is on the 3rd of June. The meeting ended at 9:05 promptly. Okay.
Thank
So I'll just give this to the
Clark.
clerk, and I've got another bit of paper for the chairman, if you don't mind. Thanks, Alison, give that. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Any other members' reports? Nothing from the chair. Have you got anything from the outgoing chair, Michael? No, okay. Clerk's report?
I haven't done a clerk's report
Fine.
today, but the members have been circulated the thank you
From the
letter
High Sheriff?
No, from
Lord Lieutenant.
yeah.
Yeah.
Advice.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah. Okay, so there's no report from the clerk, and there's a lot to get through anyway. And there was one letter distributed, came through from Citizen Advice that everybody's seen. That's just where the council gave a contribution of £2,000 to Citizen Advice in March, and the CEO was just sent a thank you letter. There's a further email that came round, I think has been sent round to members from the Lord Lieutenant about her meeting to do with the World War I commemoration group, which is one of the reasons I've not done any report for that. I was saving it all to June really as well, because June looks like it might be a more appropriate time. So moving through to item 10, which is deputations by the public. So members of the public are invited at this stage to address the council through the chairman ideally on any item on the agenda. You in theory have 3 minutes, but I can be flexible. And if you do wish to speak, if you could just identify which item you'd like to address. Just like to remind all members of the public and all members of the council that this is an opportunity to discuss business matters as for over, rather than talk about individuals. So, would any members of the public like to address the meeting? No? Sir?
Just very briefly, Chairman, if I may. Last night was a blitz. The previous chairman went through it as a result of quite a few accusations from the public, myself included. Can you please tell me what's going to happen to what was discussed yesterday? If it's nothing, please won't come again.
Okay, well, it's in relation to the town meeting. It's not strictly on the agenda, but it's not an unreasonable question because as members of the public, people probably do want to know. At the moment, we, in theory, should take on board the comments and we take that feedback, and then there should be items coming to the council where we would then address concerns. So at this moment, I wasn't able to attend all of last night's meeting because I was involved somewhere else and didn't get here till after 7. But at this time, I'd say that I can't give a succinct answer, but what I will do is I'll review the comments that were made from last night. I'll review the videotapes that were made for the council capture, which is not of people, but just to record verbal. And I think that in the June meeting, I'll be in a position to answer that question more appropriately then. Is that set? Okay?
Thank you, Chairman. May I just add to that?
Please, yeah.
As the public saw, I took the minutes and they will be, when I've got...
Well, they'll be online, won't they, as well?
Yes.
Yeah. But I'll address the minutes and any outstanding actions that appear to have arisen from those minutes or from that meeting in the June meeting as part of the Chairman's report, if nothing else. Okay? Thank you. And if you're not able to make that meeting, if you'll either see it online or you can contact the clerk and she will forward it through to you.
Most kind.
Right, so item 11 is working groups, steering groups, strategy assurance to receive written and verbal reports from those working groups. At the moment it looks like only the neighbourhood plan steering group may have one. Is there any reports coming forward?
No.
No?
Who's our representative? Is that Nick?
No, that's the neighbourhood plan one, which is Councillor Michael Haley is the representative on it.
No, he's not the representative. He was
Neighbourhood plan steering group. You are, aren't you?
But he wasn't.
Excuse me, Councillor. He is the representative for the town council at the moment. Yeah, no, I forgot. Because all that. So no, he is there, but what it is, there's no reports forthcoming at the moment.
Chairman, there is a report.
It's attached with the...
Oh, it's attached, right, okay. So the end report is what's attached in these documents here. But Michael is on there at the moment, unless it changes in the next hour and a half. Yeah? Is that right?
No, it won't.
If I may, Chair, I think what I'm alluding to is that at some point along the line, I do believe that the neighbourhood plan asks Councillor Haley to go on as a member of the public, not as a member of the council. We don't actually have any representation on there.
Yeah.
If my memory
You're right.
is correct, I mean, I could be wrong, but that's what I think she's alluding to.
Yes.
I thought you were nominated by the council and represented the council. Everybody, thank you. Let's see what Michael says.
I am a standing council representative on the neighbourhood plan steering group and have been since its formation. The steering group does have a constitution which was set up by this council, and on that constitution it's quite clear that unless I resign, I am on that steering group as a council representative until the steering group finishes its work.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that, Mark.
Can I just put something straight for what the Deputy Chairman said? He's confusing it with the neighbourhood. Sorry, but now I'm getting confused.
The working group?
No, what happened was the council didn't vote for Councillor Haley to enter the town partnership, and then he was invited to go as a member of the public.
Correct, thank you, Mark. Yes, that does clarify it, yeah, so I can see where the confusion is. But he is, I haven't got a copy of that report in my agenda, which is why I didn't see it, by the way. But let's move through, so no other comments need to be made on that. I would expect that in June we will see a stack of working groups, strategy assurance documents, etc., etc. So, moving on to item 12 is the appointment of standing committees. So this is 12, isn't it? So, I don't pretend to know, I seem to have a bit of a light that I'll follow this one then. So, appointment of standing committees, Appendix E, to appoint members to such committees and to make any decisions as appropriate. So we've got a couple of them. We've got staffing committee, we've got the planning committee, and then it was resolved in January that we'll have a planning committee which will change to the recreation, planning and general purposes. So in actual we'll have three, won't we, reading into that? Well, that's how I've interpreted it. So we're looking for, let's go one at a time, let's go for the staffing committee. The staffing committee has 4 members currently. It's resolved that we should have 5 members. Now by default the chairman of the council has to be on that. So staffing has to be myself, Councillor Lowe. So looking for people, nominations for another 4 people. So Councillor Brooks, who are you nominating?
Myself.
So Councillor Brooks is nominating himself. Seconder for Councillor Brooks. Councillor Woodley.
I'll propose myself.
Anne proposed herself. Seconder for Anne. It's going to be Dave.
I'll go on chairman as well.
All right. So Anne
No,
also.
we've got a second of
We got did you? Yeah. David seconded Anne.
I propose Councillor Haley.
Right. David's nominated himself. So I'm just going to cover that first. So we need a seconder for Councillor Romney, which is Councillor Lucas. So I need one more, which has been proposed as Councillor Haley. Seconded by Councillor Paul. Thank you very much, Paul. So does anybody else at this time want to be nominated? Because I mean, obviously I have to be on it as Councillor Lowe because I'm the chairman. To keep it all by the rule book, I'll have to get a seconder for that. So I'll look for Councillor Romney. So what we'll do now is I'll take each person as they were nominated, unless there's any other nominations.
I'll nominate Councillor Ind.
So nominated is Councillor Ind by Councillor Haley, seconded by Sally Ann. Councillor Wadsworth. Sally Ann. So at the moment we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But what we'll do is we'll go through each name and see how many votes. Now,
You don't have to vote for you, don't you?
you don't have to vote for me because
No, you're on.
I have to be on anyway. So we'll go first. So we've got votes for Councillor Brooks, please.
How many votes do we have?
Well, on this one here, I'd say that we can you can vote. You know, if you want to vote for Councillor Brooks and then you want to vote for the next person, you can do that because it's not like picking a chairman.
It's not
So,
enough to make a decisive.
so all we're looking for is to look for anybody that wants to vote for Councillor Brooks. If you vote for Councillor Brooks, you can also vote for the next person in line as well. So Councillor Brooks, we've got 1, 2, 4. Okay. Anne was
Councillor Skipworth.
Councillor Skipworth. Apologies, Councillor Skipworth. Councillor Skipworth then was nominated by Dave. All those in favour of Councillor Skipworth?
Are you allowed to vote for yourself?
Yeah, of course you can, yeah. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, well, okay, 12, that would be unanimous. So at the moment it's definitely going to be Anne and me. Right, Councillor Romney, David. So looking for a vote for Councillor Romney. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So keep your hands up a minute.
Oh, sorry.
I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I failed maths at school. 6, 7, 8. So that'll be 10 then for.
You can only vote twice for yourself.
No, you can vote.
Oh, right.
We're looking for who gets the most votes. Whoever has the least votes is not going to get through. And then we've got Councillor Haley. All that is support Councillor Haley, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 6 in favour of Councillor Haley. And all those in favour of Councillor Ind, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, that's unanimous as well. So the way it looks, even without doing any people voting against or abstaining, it would be Councillor Lowe, Councillor Ind, Councillor Haley, Councillor David Romney, Councillor Skipworth, and Councillor Brooks. You don't make the 5. You would.
That's fine.
Is that okay?
Well, it happened to be, doesn't it?
So we've captured the main thing. So we've got the main people that are on the staffing. And at the first meeting of the staffing, won't take it as read that the chairman of the council will be chairman of staffing. We'll still go through the process of nominating the chairman of staffing. Right, the next one is, right, the planning committee has 6 members. Now this is the one which in actual fact has changed, hasn't it?
Yeah.
This is changed to the, so in actual fact it's just changed to the recreation, planning and general purposes. It will have 10 meetings per year, August, December. All members are invited to 10. So in actual fact we don't, if all members are going to attend, we don't.
I think we do that have to, sorry Chairman.
No, that's all right. Go
I
on.
think we do have to vote to dissolve that committee.
What, the planning committee?
Yeah, because it's
All
a
right.
committee in its own
No,
right.
brilliant. Okay, thank you, Martin. That's I love a little bit of that. So, looking for a proposal to dissolve the planning committee as it stands.
Yeah.
Proposed by Councillor Brooks, seconded by Councillor Lucas. I think by a show of and all those in favour. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All those against or abstentions?
No, against.
Against and 2 against. 2 against. But it's
abstaining.
You're
against.
Yeah, no, there's 2 against, but it's carried. That committee's been dissolved, whatever. So we now need to reinstate the new committee, which is the planning committee, to be changed to the Recreation, Planning and General Purposes Committee. So that's what it would be called, Recreation, Planning and General Purposes. Proposal to create that committee.
I think, sorry Chairman.
Oh, it's already resolved, wasn't it? Resolved that. Big
Right.
Right, and as I've already said, that all members are invited to attend that, so we don't actually, you don't have to decide who's going to be there. You will be receiving invites, not whatever. If you cannot make it, I think it would still be appropriate to send apologies. Councillor Woodley.
Chairman, on the meeting, the term general purposes has been troubling me since it was proposed.
Okay.
Can we just, is it feasible that we can set some parameters as what that meeting is actually going to include in general purposes? Because if there's expenditure approval and such, how does that?
Right, what it is, when that meeting first forms, when it has its first meeting, it will go through a number of things. Any new committee or meeting will do this. First of all, it will have its chairman and its deputy. But then what it will do, it will set its own sort of terms of reference, and they'll look at what the previous the previous committee was doing. So that first meeting of it, they will be doing their administration and setting their terms of reference. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yes.
Happy with that? And you know, even if you want to change the name of it, that'll have to come back to council and anything like that. Thank you. So, Councillor Stickland.
If we're all going to be invited and be part of this,
Yes.
does that mean that we can not have to bring it back to council then? Because it would seem illogical. If we're all going to be there, why can't we just pass it without bringing it to a full council meeting? I just don't quite understand that.
But procedure dictates that at the moment that committee doesn't have any authority or delegated authority, so it's just a committee. So when they meet for the first time, they actually have no powers, and this is process. So when they meet, they'll get a chairman, they'll get a deputy, they'll come up with the terms of reference. They might decide that they want to ask for some delegated powers. They might request that they want a budget even, and then they have to bring that to the full council, which is the same 12 people, as if they all turn up, and that council then resolve to do that. Does that help?
It does, but it seems a waste of time.
It's a process. It's a protocol, and
We've got the power here.
Chairman, now that we've voted up everybody on, we all get a vote. Just to clarify.
Right.
Before, if it was just a few, it was only those few that had the vote. So, to clarify, we all turn up and we can all vote.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay, so I believe that is item 12, isn't it? I think we've covered that. I thought there were 3, but I've got it wrong. I'm still suffering from the first decision of the evening. Yeah, it does. No, brilliant. So that's 12. Right, thank you. Item 13 is to appoint a tree warden for Oakham. Councillor Skipworth.
I propose Joyce Lucas. Councillor Joyce Lucas.
We've had a proposal from Councillor Skipworth that it should be Councillor Lucas. Any other proposals before we go any further?
I'd like to propose Martin Brooks.
So Councillor Brooks has been proposed by Councillor Woodley. So I need a seconder for Councillor Lucas, please. Councillor Romney. Need a seconder for Councillor Brooks. Councillor, brilliant, thank you. Bomley. Right, so let's take these one at a time then. So the first person proposed was Councillor Lucas. So if we can have a show of hands, all those in favour of Councillor Lucas, please, to be the tree warden. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Any against? Any abstentions? The abstentions will be the 3, won't they, I imagine. Brilliant, thank you very much. That's very good. And then proposals for Councillor Brooks, even though it looks like, obviously, yeah, I presume there'd have been 3 proposals, or 3, no, it's 3 and 9 as well.
3.
So, and then 9 abstentions, we'll take it as that. But it's 9 votes for Councillor Lucas, then Councillor Lucas is the tree warden. Apologies again, Martin, missed out this time.
Can I just ask a question on the subject?
Shoot.
On tree warden. No disrespect to Councillor Lucas, but no one else knows anything about being a tree warden. Could it be at the next meeting a deputy is appointed, whoever it is, so that Councillor Lucas could have a deputy when she can't be here and actually teach them? It doesn't have to be me, but I think we need to be at that position.
Right.
I do need to teach somebody how to be a tree warden.
Okay.
But it has to be when I could do it, because if I get an application and it's pouring with rain, I won't go out, but I usually go at about 7:30 on Sunday morning. Okay, just to warn you, I don't mind teaching anybody about trees.
Okay, well, in actual fact, I would say that this evening would be the perfect opportunity. I wouldn't say that we have to wait, because item 13 is tree warden and tree warden area, so there is the opportunity. I would expand here and say that we're perfectly within our rights, because in our standing orders we can appoint somebody at this point, because we don't have to have it written, but we could appoint a deputy here at this point in time.
Could I ask a question?
You can ask a question, then Joyce will ask a question, but shoot.
Is there anything in writing about what the role actually is and what it does? Because I haven't got a clue what it's about.
No, there's not.
Can I just answer that? It doesn't actually have to be a councillor. It can be a member of the public, and if you know anything about all the other tree wardens in this county, there's one at Market Overton that is not actually a parish councillor. And I keep saying this at every meeting that we have about tree warden.
So we have a tree warden, and we're looking for basically what would amount to a reserve or a deputy in the absence of the tree warden. So does anybody want to propose anybody?
Yes.
Councillor Lucas.
Can I just propose Councillor Bottomley? Let's have somebody a bit younger.
To get a good
Younger than who? Okay, thank you. So we've had a nomination by Councillor Bottomley. Does anybody else want to nominate anybody else?
I will second him.
Okay, Councillor Brooks.
I don't know if I'm going to be nominated, but
Are you nominating yourself?
I'm going to be nominated.
Right, so okay, so Councillor Brooks has been nominated by Councillor Woodley. So we'll take this once again. Where seconder for Councillor Bottomley was Councillor Skipworth. Seconder for Councillor Brooks is going to be Councillor Wadsworth.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we'll take it again that we'll vote for Councillor Bottomley to be the tree warden.
Of course,
Thank you. Thank you. Are you happy to be there?
I am happy to be there.
You didn't say anything, Joe. No, he didn't. He didn't run for the locked door. So looking for a show of hands to support Councillor Bottomley. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And abstentions, or again, it's an abstention. I think it'll be four abstentions. I'm taking it as. So a show of hands for Councillor Brooks then. You can vote more than once on these, don't forget. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, you can vote more.
Yeah, you could have done but you missed it there. But I'll say there that once again that the stand-in, the backup tree warden is going to be Daniel. So congratulations. 7 o'clock in the morning.
Could I
just one moment, we've got a minute.
Can I just make a point that now that we've got a younger member, And if he's free, there is a symposium on Friday. I can organise an extra place if you want to go. I think it's 12. I'll sort it out.
Yeah, if you sort it out outside the meeting, please, that would be good.
It's not training. It's just having a talk. And there's about 13 parish councillors tree wardens taking part.
Okay.
I'll speak.
Councillor Denny was going to address the meeting.
Just to ask, now that there are going to be two of you, and given that there is nothing in writing and nobody's really clear what the role is, could it now be undertaken that there is information put in writing that we know what the role is, so if it comes back next year, we're all knowing what it is?
We will, thank you, good point. What we'll do is we'll ask the tree warden and tree warden in making to produce a heads of terms of reference, and probably a guideline on what you will not do, etc.
It might be that at the symposium on Friday,
you can get a
there
document.
might be some leaflets.
Okay,
Bring back.
right. So we'll look for that to be forthcoming anyway. Yeah. So thank you, Grace. 14, need to borrow paper again, is the appointment of working groups, which is Appendix D, to appoint members and to make any decisions. Between there and here, I've lost everything. Can't believe it. I'm in shock. So, right, okay, let's focus on this document. It's the appointment of working groups. Now then, there is a thing that obviously people are already on these working groups, and I believe all of these working groups, unless there's been any changes to it, where people want to remain on working groups, you need to make that clear as we go through it. So the council currently has 3 permanent working groups: policies and procedures, which we need to have; finance, which we need to have; and promotion and publicity. There are currently 3 task and finish groups: the neighbourhood plan steering group, yes; Christmas working group, yes; and the Oakham Town task and finish group as well. So, finance working group, beg your pardon, the policies and procedures working group reviews the various policies that the council has required and recommends any changes it considers necessary. The finance working group looks at issues. That's a very important one. So we'll take the finance working one first. Financial risk and fraud policy also prepares a draft budget for the council to consider. Right, one member of this group shall also be appointed by the working group to periodically check the council's bank statements. So it's quite a lot of responsibility with the finance working group one, and the bank reconciliations in accordance with financial regulations. Don't forget the bank signatories check when we write checks out to invoices. So we check invoices, raised orders by the office, etc. So, what was resolved by the council on the 10th of January? Yeah, that they're amended. That the policies and procedures working group has a minimum of 4 members. I'm just going to, in fact, we'll take it from the list. We'll go with that one first. So, policies and procedures working group. Who's on it at the moment? That's it. Yeah. Councillor Haley, Councillor Ind. So, are you 2 gentlemen, councillors, wishing to stay on that group? No? No, right. So at the moment we need 4 members on the policies and procedures working group. So I'm looking for names for going on that. So we've got Councillor David Romney.
What about Daniel Fowle? Sorry, Councillor Fowle. Daniel Fowle?
No, thank you.
Oh!
Right. So we've got Councillor Romney. I need 3 more. Martin.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Woodley and myself.
Okay, Nick, are you happy to go for that? So Councillor Nick Woodley, Councillor Martin Brooks, Councillor Skipworth, you had your hand raised?
No, I was going to propose him.
Oh, right, okay. And then, is there a 4th member to go on the policies and procedures working group? No?
We've got 2.
No, we've got 3. We've got David.
Oh, sorry, I didn't.
Nick and yourself, Martin.
I'll put myself forward for that.
Thank you, Sally Ann. So that's the 4. So I'm looking for a seconder for David, which I'll be the seconder. Oh, we're going to second them.
Might as well do it all in a...
All right, okay. So, all right, then I'll happily second all of those nominations in that case. That clears that one out of the way. So, if there's no changes, shall we vote as a whole on all those 4?
Shouldn't you be on that?
No. There's only one group I could be on.
Well, the mayor and the deputy mayor were both on it last time.
I have. Dave nominated himself, which is fine.
Yeah.
Nick was nominated by Martin.
You shouldn't have been on finance.
Martin was nominated by Martin, and Anne, I think, proposed Sally Ann.
Okay, no, second.
And I'll second, you put
yeah,
the
myself did.
second.
And we said,
So,
please.
thank you, let's focus so we can get through May. So we're going to take it en masse. We've got 4 people then, they've all been proposed and seconded, so all those in favour of those 4 people, raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks right. At the moment we've got 10 hands raised. That's 10 in favour. Against? Abstentions. So there's 10 in favour, 2 abstentions. So that is carried. You'll be notified in accordance. The clerk will initially send out ideas of when you meet, but it's at the end of the day, you guys will actually decide. If it's a working group, you guys will decide when you're going to meet. But you'll have to do the same thing again. You'll have to nominate chairman. A little bit of a structure about it, yeah. Finance working group to have 5 members. Now at the moment, the finance working group consists of Councillor Hainley and Councillor Ind. Are you 2 councillors willing to stay on it?
No.
Councillor Hainley? No. So there's now 5 vacancies on the finance working group. So looking for 5 members to go on that. Councillor Brooks?
I'd like to be nominated.
So Councillor Martin Brooks, nominate yourself.
Do you want that, Councillor?
Yeah.
Councillor Nick Woodley. 3rd person?
I propose you.
Do you?
Chairman, sorry to interrupt.
No,
I think you need to check that because of the rules over finances with the chairman, because you can't sign things, so, and you're doing checking.
No, checks and nothing to do with the finance.
No,
Checks is something different.
somebody could be checking.
Right, okay. No, I can't do it because I'm signing checks.
Yeah.
Well, you can change that.
Well, I'm not. Thank you, but no thank you.
It's the law.
So we've got, thank you, Martin. We've got 2 nominations. I need another 3 names.
I think we need something about accountancy. Does everyone
We need another 3 names. I know what we need. Councillor Skipper. Anybody else want?
About it, but we learn.
Paul? No, you don't learn that.
Can everybody? Councillor
Sorry.
Paul? No.
We look at the rules.
Anybody else? Jean?
No, thank you.
Yeah, I'll
Dave, Councillor Romney. So at the moment we've got 3 names. We've got. I don't think anybody else is going to come forward. So we've got Councillor Brooks, who was nominated by himself, Councillor Nick Woodley, which is nominated by Councillor Brooks, and Councillor Romney, which is nominated by Nick, I believe. I will second all of those again for the benefit of the tape. So we're now looking to vote on that finance working group. We're going to have a show of hands to make that decision set in stone. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in favour. Against? Abstentions? 2. So that's carried as well.
So we haven't got our 5.
We haven't got 5, we have got 3, but that's 1 more than last year because we only had 2. So 3 heads is better than 2, even by my maths. Promotions and Publicity Working Group has a minimum of 4 members. Now at the moment, thank you, everybody. Oh no, sorry, I'll leave the public thing. I won't into the public. Martin, are you going to say something?
Yeah, I'd like to nominate Sally Ann because she does a brilliant job.
Here. Sally Ann
And
Wadsworth.
I'd also like to nominate yourself because you help out.
Let's. Anybody else want?
And I think, but it isn't the Christmas one.
Separate.
That's different. That's a different thing. That's
Yeah.
separate.
I think Nick wanted to be on that. You would have.
It depends.
So I'm
You're
nominating
never going to be at home.
Thank you. Let's. Right. So at the moment, I've got Councillor Sally Ann Wadsworth. So you're nominating. You've nominated me.
Yeah,
You're nominating.
Councillor Woodley as well.
Are you going for it, Nick?
Would you like to?
We'll see if anyone else comes up.
And
I'll fill the
Daniel
role if we
Bottomley
need
as
help.
well.
Right. We've got Daniel Bottomley. I'm actually not prepared to stand on it again this year. So at the moment we've got Sally Ann Wadsworth, we've got Daniel Bottomley.
Paul, propose Paul.
Paul.
Sorry, I
Yes.
forgot you, Paul.
Councillor Paul Buxton. Nick, you'd make 4. That would be good.
Yeah.
Jean, would you like to be nominated?
No.
Well, that is the 4 now. That is the 4.
Joyce?
Thank you.
Yes, please.
Sorry, beg your pardon.
Joyce?
All right. Well, it is a minimum, so we can go to 5.
You've actually got
Thank you. Because these are only working groups, aren't they?
Yeah.
So at the moment we've got Councillor Wadsworth, Councillor Bottomley, Councillor Buxton, Councillor Woodley, Councillor Lucas. So Sally Ann was proposed by Martin, Daniel was proposed by Martin as well, thank you. Paul was proposed by, it was a fight over here, Nick would have done that one. Nick was proposed by Martin, I think, and Joyce was proposed by Sally Ann. I will happily second all of those again. So if we can have a show of hands for those 5 onto the working.
6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've counted 5.
I've got
6.
I've got 5.
Sally Ann Wadsworth, Daniel Bottomley, Paul Buxton, Nick Woodley, and Joyce Lucas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Daniel.
I've got 5.
Daniel.
Yeah, Daniel Bottomley. That's why I said it.
Oh, Bottomley, sorry.
So we've got 5.
I've got 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So show of hands in support of that decision. Got. Is that unanimous?
Yes.
Congratulations. Task and finish groups to remain the same with the exception of additional member to the right. So the task and finish groups that we've got the neighbourhood plan steering group. Who's on that again? It's Michael.
Yeah.
Right, so this is where you mentioned it earlier on about, somebody said that, that only Michael's on it. Once again, he's done some sterling work on there. So we're looking for a second person. Is anybody interested in
I would
working?
like to do that.
Right, Councillor Anne Skipworth has nominated herself. Councillor Brooks.
I nominate myself, please.
Councillor Martin Brooks has nominated himself. Anybody else want to be nominated?
I
Right, seconded.
Now second Anne, because it was...
Anne's been seconded by Joyce.
Yeah, a woman on there.
Councillor Skipworth's been seconded by Joyce. Councillor Brooks is seconded by Councillor Nick Woodley, thank you. So what we're looking now, we're looking for, so we've got 2. I mean, there's nothing to say that you couldn't have 3 on it, but it might be a bit busy there. So we're looking for, it could be all 3 of them in that track, but we'll see. So looking for a vote for Councillor Skipworth. Show of hands, please. 1, 2, 3. I think you.
No votes is right.
Many votes is right. I'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Are you voting for yourself, Martin? Oh no, it's not you. You're voting for yourself. Disregard, I've lost the plot. So it's 11 for and 1 abstention. So Councillor Skipworth, congratulations. And now we're looking to see if Martin gets enough votes to get on there as well. So looking for votes for Councillor Brooks to go on to the neighbourhood plans.
Is it in terms of reference? Is it in terms of reference? How many people?
Oh yeah, so, well, actually, do you mind if I just break, Chris, you chair the neighbourhood plan, is there, in your terms of reference, does it dictate whether there's a maximum amount of councillors you can have on it?
It's 2.
I don't think it does. I can't.
It's
to be honest,
2.
I can't
It's
remember,
2.
but I think we had it down for 3.
You had it down for 3 originally?
Is it? Give me to check.
I mean, you could check it now, or we could run with it, and then...
Run with it, we can check it.
Right, okay. Oh, so
I
we...
don't want to be turned away at the door.
Right, let's see what Councillor Haley says.
The Chairman, the terms of reference for the neighbourhood plan working group as they were formed is for up to 2 members of the council, neither of which can chair the steering group.
Oh, okay. Right. So based on that, then, what I can do is that, are you happy to
Well, I have, sorry, Chairman, I have an issue that why is Michael Haley, sorry, I don't mean to make this into a fight, allowed to stay on?
Okay.
Because I don't see that in any of the terms of reference saying it says we appoint.
Right. No,
It doesn't say indefinite anywhere.
Well, to be fair to everybody in the room, what I'm going to do, thank you, I'm going to come back to you in a minute, Anne. What I'm going
I
to
don't
do
mind if I'm not very
is that-
strong, because that's got the thing, but I don't understand
No,
why
that's
one
right.
member is
Martin,
allowed to stay on.
I'm going to address this issue now. So, Michael was asked if he wanted to stay on it, and he said he did. However, Councillor Lucas.
Sorry, can I
So
have
she
some
needs some
fresh
fresh
air?
air. It's urgent.
Sorry,
Yeah,
it's ever so stuffy in
it is sepsis stuff, isn't it?
I don't know how you're going to...
The only way I can do this is that.
There's a wedge there. Sorry to disrupt.
Can we get some cheese and biscuits?
We don't want anyone
Put together
staying.
tree.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to open the floor where we get proposals and second to Michael.
But he's already said that he was at the beginning of it, hasn't he?
Yes, but it's AGM. We can reset it. AGM.
It was them that said it. I don't know. I'm not.
We've got Anne on it at the minute. Right, okay, what I'm going to do is, the only way to be fair on this is that I'm going to have to look for a proposer and a seconder for Councillor Haley to be on it.
Objection there, Chairman, if I may, please.
Based on what?
If you read the Constitution, I don't need to be proposed
No,
or
that's what I've just
seconded.
tried to say.
You don't need to be proposed.
No.
Right, okay.
But then can I make a proposal, and I don't
Yeah.
care, that Councillor Haley is removed from the neighbourhood plan.
I can't do that.
I'm making a proposal that because there were a lot of comments made last night which I'm very uncomfortable with.
So, the council resolved when it came to council that he would be nominated and he was voted on as our representative. You're now making a proposal that that decision is reversed, are you?
Yes, please.
That is a proposal that I cannot reject that proposal, so it's a valid proposal that Councillor Haley does not represent the Town Council on that group anymore, but you'll now need a seconder for that proposal. Is there a seconder? Seconder is Councillor Sally Ann Wadsworth. All those in favour of that proposal, please show of hands. You can't vote on this one, I'm afraid. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4 that Councillor Haley comes off the group. All those against that decision, please show of hands. 1, 2. Councillor Haley, are you going to vote? Are you going to vote against that or not? At the moment, are you voting for that or not?
I'm voting.
Right.
What do we vote? I'm sorry, I'm confused.
What we're doing is we're voting on whether Councillor Haley should be removed from the group.
I just said it was.
No, it's not. We're voting for it, Anne. So can I have a show of hands where? So Martin's got 4 that he should be removed. I'm now looking for people who are against that decision. So raise your hands again. Those people who are against it. 1, 2, 3. 3. All those abstaining, show your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. Based on that, that means that Councillor Haley would not be representing the Town Council on that finished group anymore. So what we do now, there is one vacancy there, so we're looking for a proposal. Councillor Brooks has been nominated, looking for a seconder, which was Councillor Wadsworth.
Yes, I'll second that.
Chairman, I'm leaving the meeting because that was unconstitutional.
No, I appreciate you leaving the meeting. Do you want a minute that you're leaving the meeting?
Yes, please.
You minute the time that Councillor Brooks is leaving the meeting. So Councillor Haley,
I'm leaving because a decision was made.
saying that the decision was unconstitutional, but it was democratic.
No, it's illegal.
That's not, no discussions, thank you. Right, where we are is that Anne Skipworth is on it. The council then voted that the current council that was also on it, which was Councillor Haley, would be removed from it. And now that what it is, we've got Councillor Martin Brooks has been nominated by himself, seconded by, I think, Sally Ann. Not second, Nick nominated. So all those in favour that Councillor Brooks is now on that, working on the neighbourhood plan steering group, show of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All those against, show of hands. And all that abstained, which would be 5. So the people on the neighbourhood plan steering group now are Councillor Skipworth and Councillor Brooks.
Chairman, can I ask the clerk minutes the reason, and that was because of public comment and nothing personal. Because I've been voted off of committees and things, and it's not a very pleasant thing, but it was purely based on what residents said at the town meeting last night. And if that could be minuted, please.
I don't see what it would benefit. Do you feel that, do the council feel that should, thank you, do the council, other councillors feel it should be minuted, that the public made a show of approval of that approach? Please minute that.
May I say something? I'm a little bit.
Just minute it, please, that there was a public murmuring in support of the decision to have Councillor Brooks and Councillor Skipworth on that group.
Yeah.
There was an outright attack on his role on allowed to speak.
All right.
Right, could I just clarify this, because if we are not being constitutional, then we don't want that to fall into our hands. And not that I'm supporting anybody because I abstained, but we have the chairman of that thing here, that thing, sorry. and he will know if it was a thing that was done that he was always going to be on, because that's the impression that I've always had, that he is on. It's not his role as a councillor, it's that he's on anyway, and that's what I really don't understand, and I'd like it to be explained if
But it's our working.
Right, thank you, right. For start, you're going on the grounds that, right, Councillor Haley said it wasn't constitutional to have 3 members because apparently in their constitution it says there can only be 2. The council made the decision when that group was formed, the neighbourhood plan group, that they would nominate X amount of members. Councillor Haley has been on it since day one. This evening, the council exercised its right to reverse that decision. The councillor made a decision, the councillor got a seconder, and the councillors voted. That is democracy and constitution all in one hit. Now, just because somebody may be not happy with the result, it's the decision of the council. So the whole of the council have to get behind it. And I'd say that having at least 2 members of this council on the working group, Councillor Brooks and yourself, Councillor Skipworth, is a step forward. I'm disappointed that Councillor Haley felt the need that he had to leave, but I fully understand it, and I have no issue there. And I think that should be the close of the matter for now. I think that as the neighbourhood plan steering group moves forward, Chris, I would imagine that you're not unduly disturbed by the matter.
No, I would obviously like a conversation with you, but I'm pleased that we've got 2 members on the team.
Yes, at some point you and I need to chat anyway. So yeah. So at the end of the day, I don't know. I have to admit, I've not read the constitution of that steering group. But at the end of the day, the council, as I say, at the beginning of this meeting, I don't make the decisions. We as a whole make decisions. And from what I heard, we had proposals, we had seconders, and that's it. That's all it is. It's the public, and to a certain extent, the public. You're all public, by the way, but you also wear a council hat. People have said what they wanted, and it's happened. It's not a bad thing, Anne.
I'm not saying. I'm not saying that. Do you want me to stand up again? I'm not saying that. Right. I'm not saying that. It's just that I thought that he wasn't elected by the council. I thought this is where it all gets confused. He was taken on as somebody else because I understood that we proposed somebody else some time ago, and that person was pushed out and not accepted.
He blocked anybody else going on.
No, this was before.
Right. Okay. Right. We're not going to debate it this evening. Thank you. We're going to curtail it there. The decision's been made. It's set in stone. If I'll speak to Chris about it later on. But my main thing is that these working groups have the right people in the right places, as what the council and the public feel are right.
All we're going to do is report back to the council, which we've never had.
Right. Thank you. Moving on. Open task.
Well, initially we will report.
I'm trying to. Right. Thank you. Open task and finish group, which is the one that Councillor Woodley's on. There's only one representative.
Christmas.
You're going to come back, yeah.
That's the next one on the list.
Christmas is last.
What's Christmas on there?
Comes in December.
Right, well, I was working down this list here anyway. Task and finish group remaining. So right, open task and finish group. Nick, you're on that, aren't you?
Yeah. I need the deputy.
Right, we need a deputy to be on the open task and finish group. So looking for a proposal. Martin?
I'd like to vote myself.
Anybody else like to be proposed? Councillor
I
Sickle?
wanted to do it originally, but Nick
Right. Are you proposing yourself? Or
I am proposing
right.
this.
So we've got. Thank you. We've got Martin and we've got Councillor Skipworth. We've seconded for Martin is.
I just want to make it clear. We can't have 2 members. It's purely as a deputy. And I don't want you thinking.
No, I wasn't thinking that, Nicholas, at all. Not at all, Nicholas.
Okay, thank you.
Not at all.
Right. Yes. To me, just an act about what I'm also going to do, as advice from David here, is that to be fair to what happened a moment ago, and we've got a proposal that Nick stays on there as well.
Yes.
So proposal by Anne that Nick is on there. So what I'm going to do is that I will do it in reverse order because Nick's been on there first, so I'm going to be fair to you, Nick. Looking for a seconder for Nick, which is Sally Ann. All those in favour that Nick stays on, just going to get that out of the way. That's unanimous, so Nick's definitely staying. Martin nominated himself, that's been seconded by Nick. Anne, who's your seconder?
No.
David Romney. Right, so you only want one, don't you?
Yeah.
So we're going to take them in the order they came, so we're going to go on Martin first. So all those in favour of Councillor Brooks being the stand-in. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll do that as well, so that's 5. All those against, nobody against, all those abstaining would be 6. Yeah? That's the maths out of the way. Right, so Martin's got 5 votes at the moment. All those in favour of Anne's Councillor Skipworth, so we've got 6 potential votes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that would be 5. So it would be Councillor Skipworth. Okay, that you are the,
If he can't go.
If you can't make it-
No, Las Vegas, sorry, Las Vegas.
hang on a minute, so let's get, sorry, I just need to clarify something. So if you can't make it to Las Vegas, she goes. Yeah.
22nd of May.
Neighbourhood Plan Steering Group, right. Okay, apparently I missed the Christmas working group.
Yes.
Please.
So just ask for Nick, if you're not going to be at the next meeting, could you bring that up to speed out of the meeting?
Yes, absolutely.
Keep looking.
22nd of May. 22nd of May.
And 30 in the morning.
You're back.
No, I'm not. It's here. I haven't gone anywhere.
Christmas working group consists of Councillor Wadsworth, Councillor Woodley and Councillor Buxton. Do any of those want to stand down, by the way? No, good.
And I propose that that remains the same, please.
Perfectly. Anybody want to second that?
Are they?
Could I propose an extra member? Is that possible?
Yeah, anything. Yeah. So we've got one proposal that it stays the same,
But with the amendment.
and then with the you're happy to accept the amendment that with the addition of Councillor Bottomley, yeah. So that's a proposal by.
Yeah, well, yes, but I don't mind because I've got extra already, haven't I?
You have.
But it was lovely this afternoon.
Okay, let's focus. Let's focus on it. So at the moment, the Christmas group. Thank you. We've got Councillor Wadsworth, Councillor Woodley, Councillor Buxton. We've had a proposal that stays the same, but with the addition of Councillor Bottomley. I'll take that as a proposal from Councillor Brooks and seconded by Councillor Buxton. All those in favour? Oh, sorry.
Could I
You want to?
nominate myself for that?
You like so? All right. Would you be happy to have the amendment?
Chairman, if that's the case, I'm quite happy to drop off with
Because of your workload.
A, with the workload, and also having worked
Getting
with Paul,
messy.
who is
Okay.
totally on it.
Right. This is what I'm going to do. We have a proposal on the table from Councillor Brooks that the Christmas working group stays the same with the amendments
With the addition.
that Councillor Wadsworth remains, Councillor Buxton remains.
Chairman, now we've come to a thing, can we completely change it so the proposal is just those people who have decided to...
Yeah, that's what I was in the process of trying to do.
Sorry, because it's remaining the same, doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you can. The proposal is that the Christmas working group consists of Councillor Wadsworth, Councillor Buxton, Councillor Bottomley, Councillor Denyer, Councillor Skipworth. Councillor Wadsworth and Councillor Buxton are self-proposing. Councillor Bottomley was seconded by Councillor Brooks. All right, okay.
Just do it all in one.
All right then. They're all nominated by themselves and they're all seconded by me.
I was nominated by you.
So we've got it. So we're looking for a show of hands to support that those 5 councillors form the Christmas working group. All those in favour?
Yeah.
Sally Ann, put your hand up.
No coercing. Right.
15.
Sorry, mate, it's gone all over. We've done the open test and finished through. So to appoint members to the working group, we've done that. To appoint additional members to those, we've done that. Thank you.
Okay.
Right, representation on outside organisations. Now then, there's less outside organisations than what there have been in years gone by. I'd just like to point out at this point that I have been the representative for the last year on the Citizens Advice, Trustees to the Memorial Institute and the Rutland Committee for the First World War Commemoration, which was a task and finish and finishes this year anyway. And as such, I don't want to change any of those 3 things that I'm on as outside representation unless anybody wants to challenge
Can you
it
tell us again, because I didn't write it.
robustly. Yeah, so Citizens Advice, Councillor Lowe, Trustees of the Memorial Institute, Councillor Lowe, and the Rutland Committee for WW1 Commemoration, Councillor Lowe. Now, going back to the trustees a moment, oh no, there's only one vacancy, I don't need to discuss that. Right, so who else is on different things? Anybody else want to be nominated for anything here?
Can I make a comment about this business of trustees? Because
Trustees of Victoria Hall?
Well, that and the one at the
Memorial Institute.
Memorial Institute. because it's nonsense to actually call us trustees, because we don't sign a trustee's deed.
No.
And this really needs to be looked at, because I looked on the Charity Commission's website and it very clearly says in the deeds that Victoria Hall has to have 4 town councillors appointed by the town council, 4 Rutland County councillors appointed. But as you know, people have been sent to certain organisations and turned away. So I want to know really why we've got to the situation where people who have a legal deed, because it's very similar, I can't remember the number offhand for the Memorial Institute, but why these people have been permitted to ignore their legal covenants. And I think this has got to be deferred on those 2, so we can get proper legal representation. It's all right them saying we don't want 4 councillors, but that's not lawful. You can go to the Charities Commission's website and pull off the deed, and it's actually not as described on the Oakham Town Partnership, a community hub. It is a farmers' hall.
Right, okay.
You know, that's, you know, it needs to be sorted.
Well, I hear what you're saying, but maybe what it is, we should, why don't we appoint outside bodies and ask them to clarify exactly what their role is and then bring it back to council?
And also, if you're told you're a trustee, like I was appointed to the Oakham United Charities, and nothing was given to me in the sense that I was a trustee, and it's the same for anyone who goes to Victoria Hall.
I've got the message.
They used to, because Councillor Fillingham, who was mayor here, actually showed me the deed, and she was very proud that she was a trustee.
Okay.
So something has gone wrong with it.
Right, thanks.
And it should, what it says, it should be set, sorry Chairman, it should be set for the 4 years.
I've got it.
Sorry.
What I'm going to do, in light of what Councillor Brooks has said, I'm going to cut this elephant up, and I'm going to start at the top. Rutland Together, it says here, has to have, I don't know why, it has to have, what do we do?
We get together.
Oh, right, okay. So Rutland Together, obviously got a big stick to it. Rutland Together has got to be the chairman. So Councillor Lowe is nominated by Councillor Lowe and seconded by Councillor Wadsworth. Okay. We'll vote at the end on this.
Yeah.
Right. The Citizens Advice Rutland. I'm happy to stay on that. There's only one vacancy, so I'm going to nominate myself, seconded by Sally Ann Wadsworth. I can see your hand, Sally Ann. Right. Trustees of the Victoria Hall, are the council happy to defer decisions based on this until we get some details?
Yes.
Right, so the proposal from Councillor Brooks is that the trustee one is deferred, seconded by Councillor Sally Ann. So that's deferred, Sally Ann. Oakham United Charities is one vacancy. Who wants to do that? Who's on it at the minute? Jean,
I'd like to do it.
Right, brilliant.
I had an issue with that one as well, sorry Chairman.
Why?
Because I was once appointed to that and
did you want to do it again?
nothing. And then one day when I was looking for something in the cupboard, I found bank statements and checkbooks, and when I made that public, there was a big chain put on the cupboard. So there's, and I also did some research on the Charity Commission's website, and it says that the charity spent a lot of money.
Right, we're going off
over
track.
a period of time. It only has £2,000.
We're
So I think we need to look into that.
Right,
before someone
thank you.
gets
Right,
involved.
Perhaps if we get a member on there, we can talk about that.
Right,
We need to do.
we're not here to challenge all these what we're here to put. So we've got Councillor Jean Denyer has nominated herself. She's got a seconder, which is Councillor Romney. So we'll come and vote on all these in one hit in a minute because they'll all get through, I'm sure. Oakham in Bloom has got 2 vacancies. So who's on that at the moment? Are you on it?
I'm on it.
Are you staying?
As a rep for the town.
Are you staying on it?
I will nominate that Joyce stays.
Right. So Councillor Lucas has been proposed by herself and seconded by Councillor Brooks. And Paul wants to be nominated by Anne Skipworth, seconded by Councillor Romney. Nobody else wants to do the flower power thing, do they? So that's that one done. Trustees of the Memorial Institute, once again, deferred.
Sorry, so who's on that one?
At the moment, we've got you, Joyce, and we've got Paul Buxton. I'm going to vote at the end all in one hit that we accept all
Yes,
this.
can I point out? Oh, 18. Oh, that's okay. I thought it was. Yeah.
8 meetings.
It could well be
It's not 18.
Just a point on the Oakham and Bloom. It was always the case that the clerk was on it as well.
She's not the councillor.
It's not been. I don't think they've asked for the clerk, have they? So it's not been asked for. No, not been asked for. I've never known
I
it.
was just checking.
No, it's always worth checking, but no. Right, trustees of the Memorial Institute, are we happy that this is deferred as well? Will we establish some facts on this? As to what actually, whether they're represented right. So that's proposed by Martin, because Martin, you came up with this. So that's proposed by Councillor Brooks, seconded by Sally Ann. We'll vote on the end. I can see. I've got children. I've got eyes in the back of my head. There it goes, isn't it? They've all left home because they're all saying. Right, Rutland Access Group, 1 vacancy. They have 4 meetings per year. Is anybody on that at the moment, Jean?
No, I'm not on it, but I'd like to do it.
You'd like to do it?
Yeah.
So, Jean's proposed to sell, seconded by Martin. There's nobody else, so that's brilliant. Rutland Committee for World War One. If everybody's happy, I'll nominate myself and seconded in it. And voted.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Proposed by Lowe, seconded by Councillor Skipworth. Thank you, guys. And then lastly, the Parish Forum. Oh no, it's not. The Parish Forum Working Party.
Yeah.
It's the Parish Council Working
That's
Group.
your one. Right, so Peter, so propose that Peter stays on it, Martin.
Yeah.
Seconded.
Right, so Peter staying, seconded by Councillor Brooks.
Yeah.
You have to be quicker than that. Councillor Skipworth. LRLC. 2 vacancies.
What is it?
What is it?
It's Leicestershire Rutland Association of Local Councils.
Who's on it in a minute? Peter, you staying on that?
Peter and Michael were on.
I've proposed myself to do
So Peter wants to stay on it. So I've got a proposal for Peter. Anybody else want to go on that?
Michael Haley was the other person.
Right, thank you. There's a conversation going up over here. Got a conversation going over here. Can everyone stop conversing?
Clarification, please.
What on?
Why? Peter, where are the meetings?
The last meeting was at the Falcon
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Falcon Inn at Uppingham.
Right.
Ron Simpson is the secretary.
Put your hand again there.
And the chairman is Gordon Brown. who's
Oh, no, that's
American.
Gordon Brown's excellent. Because it's RCC. Gordon Brown from Barrowden.
Yeah.
Right, we've got proposal from Peter, and I think that was seconded by David.
Can I propose that in his absence, Councillor, unless Peter's heard different, that Councillor Michael Haley remains on? He did deliberately ask for that.
I've not spoken.
Well, I've got a
Are we
councillor
going to
that's...
handle that properly?
Right.
isn't it?
No.
So,
Well, I'd like to be considered.
okay, right, at the moment, I've got Peter who's been seconded by, because there's only 2 vacancies, so we're going to have to break this down carefully. So we've got a proposal by Martin that Councillor Michael Haley stays on it. I'll need a seconder for that. Jean Denyer. We'll vote on these all in a minute. Anne, did you say you wanted to be on it? So Anne Skipworth, Councillor Skipworth has put a name forward. We need a seconder for Councillor Skipworth.
Yeah.
Councillor Lucas. And then Councillor Nick Woodley has put his name forward, and that's seconded by Councillor Sally Ann Wadsworth. So we'll take these one at a time in the order they came. So
You get 2 votes.
I'm going to say that you can vote as many times as you want, and whoever has the least amount of votes is going to get nobbled off on this. So Peter's the first one. All those in favour of Councillor Irons, show of hands, please. 10.
I'm just abstaining. I'm only voting once because I'm silly to vote more.
There's 10 for Peter, so that'll be 1 abstention. So that's looking strong, Peter. That is it. Councillor Michael Haley. I'm looking. So that's been proposed. I'm now looking for a show of hands that Councillor Michael Haley stays on that group. Show of hands, please. 1, 2, 3. All those against?
Not abstaining.
We do against, then we do abstaining. All those against? 1, 2, 2, and all those abstaining. 3. Beg your pardon. I'm glad about that. Then that means that there's 5 abstained. Love that. So he's only got 3 votes. You've got 10, Peter. You're still in the lead. Right. Councillor Skipworth is next. A show of hands, please, for Councillor Skipworth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All those against? And all those abstaining should be 3, which is fine, so that's looking good. And then lastly, all those in favour of Councillor Nick Woodley. Show of hands, please. Big stroke, show on the van. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, and that means there must be 4 abstentions there. Yeah? Sorry, Nick. So that means that on the LRALC, the vacancies are Councillor Peter Ryan, congratulations, and Councillor Anne Skipworth.
No, you've got more than me.
You
No,
got-
he didn't.
No, you got 8. I voted for you. All I want is great representation.
Right, let's keep focused. Oh, we need to, did we do an overall vote on any of the nominations? Right, before we, thank you everyone back in the room, Martin.
Sorry.
Right, so we did the LRAC one because that was the complicated one. All the other ones where we had nominations and seconders, where there didn't seem to be a dispute, can I have a show of hands to support all of those decisions? Right, they're all unanimous, so all those ones that are named is fine. Brilliant. Gonna have to retire at the end of time. Right, schedule of meetings, which is 16. So thank you very much to Alison for, she's already put in sort of the council meeting and the recreational planning general purposes. The only thing, and the town meeting, the only thing that isn't on here will be your staffing, finance working groups and all that, those organisations called road. But these are the meetings that will be published on the website. So anybody got any comments or observations? Otherwise I'm looking for a proposer to accept these dates, proposed by Councillor Woodley, seconded by Councillor Skipworth. All those in favour? Councillor Lucas, are you voting?
Yes, sir.
Right, that's unanimous then. If you take no other paper away with you this evening, probably take that one. Okay, 17 is the appointment of an internal auditor for the financial year. Martin's going to be the internal auditor.
No. I would like this one deferred until the finance working group is met, because there was a question from one of the new members about how long this person has been, and I couldn't quite remember, but there is a sort of unwritten restriction that it should only be 3 years, I think.
This will be his 3rd year.
This will be his 3rd year, so
Yeah.
he's within that. Right, well, this will be his 3rd year, so it's within the audit requirements. However, Councillor Brooks is proposing that this is deferred until when? June? It has to be June because we can't.
Is that long enough?
Well, it has to be because we have to have an internal auditor appointed, and if we defer it much longer, we will be probably in breach of rules.
We'll be ready for June.
Right, no, well, it's only a proposal. So a proposal by Councillor Brooks that this is deferred and the decision is made in June, and it has to come back in June. If it's not brought back in June, I'll bring it back myself and we'll make the decision, yeah?
Yeah, that's fine.
Fine, so proposed by Councillor Brooks, seconded by Councillor Woodley. All those in favour that it's deferred? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All those against? 1, 2, 3, 3, and all those abstaining would be 3, wouldn't it? 2. That's why I'm not on the finance working group. Okay, so that's Martin, please.
Can we clarify, does that mean we no longer have an internal auditor?
Well,
he's already done the work for the end of this year, of
Yeah, I
last
know he
year.
has. Well,
So
I
really,
know.
this isn't going to this will have to not start until 2018, 2019.
when does he start doing the 2018-19 audit?
That won't be until
Oh,
next
that'll be
year.
9 months.
That'll be
Right,
9
okay,
months.
so this will not impact, thank you.
No.
This decision will not impact the fact that he's already been contracted. Any work he started for this year will be completed, yeah?
Yeah.
But this has to come back in June, and that's what we've decided, that it's deferred until June, so the finance working group can
Which
meet.
would be.
Thank you.
And thank you, Peter. And what I'll do is I'm going to now make sure that the clerk, please present this back with a 6-month rule thing that this is revisited in June, please. So that I don't have to remember to do it. So that's done. Right, 18 is the bank signatories to authorise signatories to the following accounts. Do we need to make any changes, or have we got adequate names at the minute? I think we have, haven't we? We recently went through it, Nick.
Chairman, earlier you mentioned if you're on the finance working group, can't be a signatory or something? Or did I misinterpret what you were saying with your explanation?
Apparently they said that the chairman couldn't be doing it for some reason.
Oh,
I think it's because chairman of the council finance working group, because I'm actually a signatory at the moment for other accounts.
okay.
Yes.
So, but I think I just can't be on the finance working group. So the bank signature, at the moment we have got signatories, you have to correct me if I'm wrong here please Alison, we have got signatories for the current account, the Mayor's charity account, which is Cambridge Building Site, yeah, it's all listed here. Is there any changes due? I don't think...
No, the Mayor's charity should have 2 signatures.
Just we need one for the Mayor's.
Do you? I thought it was you and the...
Oh,
2 signatures and the clerk, it says.
To decide whether to appoint one new signatory to the
Oh,
Mayor's
right,
charity
right.
account.
Okay, so let's go from the top. Decide whether to authorise new signatories to the council's current... Yeah.
It would be easy if we kept them because it's
Right, okay. Well, we don't need to change the current one because that's covered. We agree on that, I think.
Yeah.
To appoint a new signatory to the Mayor. So we need to do somebody for the Mayor. We'll come back to that in a second. The Cambridge Building Society, we don't need to change that. And the Melton Building Society, which is changing its name next year to the Belton, we don't need to change that. So if everybody's happy with that, that's what we'll be voting on in total. So we need another signatory for the Mayor's charity account. It can't be the chairman or the Mayor. So who would like to be the signatory for that, please? Nick? Thank you, Nick. So Nick's nominated himself, but seconded by Martin. Thank you. All those in favour of that. So that one's definitely carried then, that it is now going to be Nick as the second signatory. Okay. And then I'm looking at proposal that all the other signatories stay the same. Proposed by Martin, seconded by Sally Ann. Show of hands in favour. Unanimous. So no change to the signatures apart from the additional one. Thank you to Nick. Right, statement of accounts. Decide whether to approve the statement of accounts 30th of April 2018. Members to consider the financial budget. Any comments or observations before we do these? Sorry, say that again.
Doesn't that second bit mean consider the financial budget to 30th of April 2019?
Hang on there. Is that right? Was that up in just we're in arrears on our financial accounts, that one?
Sorry, what am I looking at?
Members to consider the financial budget to the 30th of April 2018. That's just what we spent last month, isn't it?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, that's what it is. Our budget, just to explain, our budget that we've set for the 2018-219 had been done previously leading up to the beginning of the financial year. Every month we have expenditure, and every month the council review it and they authorise it accordingly. And that's all we're doing. We're saying that the money that we spent in April is fine. Next month in June it will be saying May 31st. All right. So, but thank you for asking the question. So, if nobody's got any observations or comments, I was looking for a proposal to accept both of these, 1 and 2. So, proposal by Nick, seconded by Peter, Councillor Ide. All those in favour, show of hands, please. That's everybody bar Martin. Martin, you are against or abstaining? So that's 10 and 1 abstention. Right, data protection. Appointing a data protection officer, Appendix J. My appendixes have come back now.
Oh, is it done?
Yeah, just got to do the finances. There we go. Right.
Can we still do that?
Yeah, I'm gonna just refer to the clerk on this one because I've not been involved with it that much.
We don't need. We've had clarification.
Yes. All right, that's right. Yes, I can actually take lead on this. Is that you're probably aware of the GDPR, which I can't remember it all means, but the General Data Protection thing. That all public bodies and certain large other organisations, even my employers, we have to comply with the GDPR. Everybody, yeah, right. Even individual sole traders like whoever. And what it was, they have to appoint a data protection officer. So Rutland County Council, for instance, has to have a data protection officer, and then parish councils also have to have a data protection officer. And of course, that caused a bit of a ripple throughout the industry. But in fact, there was an amendment done to legislation that only came through recently, saying that because of the issues with parish councils, they didn't need to have one. So this document here says, Council notes the above and agrees to wait for further developments before deciding. its course of action with regard to the appointment of DPO, which we don't really need one now. And the council instructs the clerk to comply with the legislation with regard to protecting data with immediate effect. And that's to do with things like any documents have to be under lock and key, anything which is on hard drives or computers has to be under password protection, etc., etc. Yeah?
Yeah.
Anybody got any further questions?
No.
Peter?
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I mean, you summed it up correctly. The only point I would make, it does say it is still good practice for us to have a data protection officer. We're a fairly sizable council, a budget of $250,000 or so, so I think we should perhaps consider that before we move on. We don't hold much data, but we've got information on individuals, allotment holders and so on, so perhaps a bit of thought.
I'm a bit concerned because I'm worried that we're going to end up probably being the first council to be prosecuted because I'm totally in the dark of how we're complying with this new regulation. Now, I was posted in the post some LRAC guidance, but not much of it was relevant to this council. But I would like the council to set up a working group so that we look at this because of the serious consequences and then come back to council to show, because there's talk of people paying money, not paying money. It's all quite confusing, even for me, and I think it's something that's very serious, and we need to look at it. And I don't think we're doing anything wrong now, but we don't know.
Right.
And I think we should have looked into it many months ago to be
What's the recent developments?
I know that lots of people have done things as it's going along, but we haven't. So my proposal is that we set up a working group.
Well, it might have in fact, we have got several working groups. We have we have a financial working group, and B, we have a policies and procedures working group. So we actually have. We could ask one of them to look at it. Nick, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say for the DPO role, it's a role that channels requests for personal data about members of the public that request. They handle those requests. They're the individual within an organisation that has a responsibility to comply within the terms of the number of days to respond to requests. So
it's reducing from 40 to 31 as well, isn't it?
It's actually
one calendar month.
But it should, I think, be covered under our policies and procedures. As a just to confirm our compliance, because from what I've seen as an organisation, we're not going to be that far from compliance.
Yeah.
For the data we have.
What I'd recommend then, or say from the chair on the back of what you both said there. So, recommendations: the council notes the above and agrees to wait for further developments before deciding. That will be developments from outside, like the LRLAC or the central government. Council instructs the clerk to comply with legislation with regard to protecting data with immediate effect. Yes, we want that. But then a third one then, that the promotion publicity working group explore the options. No? Those. Policies. I was testing you, see who would get that one. Policies and procedures working group. Yeah, but at least you're all paying attention. That was a test. Been a long time. Policies and procedures, yeah?
Yeah.
Are you happy? You're on that, aren't you?
Yeah.
So you'd be happy to explore it. Obviously, you are aware that we cannot use any of our current staff as a DPO. You know that, don't you? Right. Andy, you were saying something?
Just that other organisations, which I won't say the name because I know somebody doesn't like us very much, but we've had to do it. We've had to do it, and it's got to be in very, very shortly. Yes.
Oh, right.
Everyone, it affects every
individual. Yeah, well that's fine. Okay, well we got proposals there. We've got the two written down, and the additional one is that that group look into it. So that's the proposal. Who wants to be the proposer for that?
Well, I don't think it's soon enough. I don't honestly think.
What do you mean sooner? I mean, we can't discuss it tonight.
No, but it's, well, I don't know, but it's on the agenda, but it's not till the 30th of May, this next meeting, and then it'll have to come to full council, and I don't think I think the closing date's before that.
The closing date is the 25th of May, and I asked this very question. I was at a GDPR training session only yesterday afternoon.
You could be the person.
No, I can't, because you can't be a councillor either. And one of the questions I asked was, what happens with many of the organisations that go beyond this 25th date? And it was explained to me that there will be a degree of leniency, and also because Jake Atkinson from the LRLAC has already come back and say that parish councils have got a little bit more leeway and they do not have to appoint a DPO, Data Protection Officer. Yeah. So we have got a lot of latitude on this, and I think by if we get that working group to look at it, then we seem to be doing the right thing. At least we're making the right steps to do it, and it's all minuted. Is everybody happy? Are you happy with that? Yeah.
Yes.
It's the only. You can't do any more than that
No, that's
because I
fine.
can't. I didn't bring my TARDIS, so I can't go back in time. So the proposal is that we go 1, 2, and then that third thing about asking that working group to look at it and bring it back to the council no later than June with some initial findings.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Happy with that?
Yes.
Thank you. That's a proposal from Councillor Woodley, seconded by Councillor Wadsworth. All in favour? That's unanimous as well. Thank you very much. That's 11.
Here's a big one. This is the big one.
I'm going to see how I get on. I'll see how I get on. We've got 20 minutes and I don't want to go to extending meetings, so if we can all stay focused, because I have to say, if I was giving out stars tonight, you'd all be getting a star. But I'm not, so let's focus. Item 21 is advertising magnets. This was an idea that Sally Amble?
Yes.
Because of the time here, what it is, there's an idea to get some advertising magnets where it has information like to do with band concerts. Sally Amble, it was an idea, we hand them out at our concerts, and it was a small expenditure, and we're now looking to authorise that expenditure. So, to accept and authorise the expenditure of £166, do you want to say something, Martin?
Oh, no, that's obviously I don't want to block debate on such an important issue. But
sarcasm from you. So is that a proposal?
But, I would like to make a proposal that we go ahead.
Yes.
It was seconded by Jean. All those in favour? You've had enough.
You take them all.
Well done. Item 22 is the 2018-2019 National Salary Award. This is to note receipt of this to pay scales and approve the revised pay rates backdated 1st of April. This is a statutory requirement on local councils and public authorities, and so unless anybody's got any particular questions, it is something that's done, I can't remember what the percentage is it 1 or 1.5, can't remember now off the top of my head. In fact it's written on here, isn't it? But yeah, so I'm just looking for a proposer, Martin.
But I'm a bit confused why we would have this not an exempt item on discussing staff.
It's in the public domain. It's on the public domain.
There's an issue with like the office assistant only starting on the 1st of April, and this is why I'm a bit confused about, because we can't discuss the contract, but it says that in the contract that they can't have a pay rise for a year.
The reason this is not exempt, which is I'm going to answer the question, the reason it's not exempt is that the National Salary Award pay scales is paid to public employees.
So we're not making a decision that they get that.
No.
Well, we're accepting that at the end of the day, the National Salary Award recommendation is that's what it is. This is what their money is. I mean, every year I get a 1% pay rise. We don't all vote on it.
But all the contracts, Chairman, say that future pay rises are all based on merit.
Increment.
That's incremental pay rises.
Thank
you. Yeah. This is a nationally. This is like, we're not going to go head to head with unions saying no, because we'll get railroaded. This is a national recognised civil service style thing.
Yeah.
And all this is making us aware.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
And it's not exempt because it is in the public domain.
Yeah.
So proposal to accept or acknowledge this. Proposed by Jean, seconded by Anne. Councillor Skipworth. All those in favour, show of hands please. That's keep your hands up. That's 10. 11. Martin, you've got your hand up. Thank you very much, Martin. So that's unanimous. Yeah, that's gone through. And then, excuse me, right, item 23. Now we are coming to the exempt items now, and this is where we're going to be talking about a staffing matter to do with one of our staff. So this is where the council will now decide whether to exclude press and public. We haven't decided yet, but you're going. So I'm looking at, we're looking for a proposal to exclude the press and public because it's a confidential matter.
No, I had another proposal that this item is deferred because although we've had a lot of council business, it's not normal for an AGM to actually have council business, and I think it's rather rude of the council if we go ahead and kick out the public at the AGM when they might actually want to discuss things with us at the end of the meeting.
You can't discuss things.
No,
Chairman, just
thank you,
to go back.
Yeah.
This should have really come to the last meeting,
Right.
and it somehow got missed. So I think it shouldn't be deferred. I mean, the member of staff's been in place.
Yeah. Right. Okay. There's two things there. So right. First of all, I've got a proposal that this is deferred. I've also been advised by the clerk that we have 3 months to approve a contract, otherwise we're in breach of employment regulations. And she has come here for has she done 3 months? It's not. She's only.
No, but it was. She'd been brought back by the staffing recommendation.
Right. Okay. So Martin's recommended it's deferred. It's only formalising a contract. So is it going to be seconded to be deferred? They're looking for a seconder. Seconded by Councillor Woodley. All those in favour that it's deferred, please show of hands. 1, 2. All those against, show of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2. So that's 5. So it's not going to be deferred, and I'll take the rest as being abstentions. So it won't be deferred. So I'll go back to the exempt item now. Do the council wish to exclude the press and public? Because it's a staffing and exempt item, confidential matters, from the chair, I will have to propose that the press and public are excluded. So that's proposed from the chair, seconded by Councillor Romney. All those in favour? 1, 2, excluding press and public. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 in favour. Thank you very much. It's only a contracted employment, so it's nothing. It's not 10 rand.